Midshipman Terry. Come on up. Whatever you got the floor, because like I said, it's always special when we have guys that, like yourself, that go to these academies, that come out of the squadron, whether it's Air Force, Navy, West Point, where his brother's at West Point. So, academies run in his family blood. So he was actually accepted to Air Force Academy and the Naval Academy. Yeah, I know, they got that look like that. Yeah, so he was accepted to both. He was on the fence. Ooh, that's a nice position to be in, to be like, which one do I want to go to? That's a nice position to be in. And he picked Navy, but Naval aviators,
but what he wants to fly is kind of cool.
Probably the best. I can give him landing on a carrier. So go for it.
As he explained, I'm at the Naval Academy. I had my choice between Naval Academy and Air Force. I didn't want to go Army. I'm not gonna lie to you. Army is fun. I would not bash the Army. They have a lot of cool
Tell
stuff.
your brother that.
I'm just personally not going to Army. But the academies, it's different from CAP. But if you're in CAP and you enjoy it here, you'll love the academies. I will tell you now, if you don't like to work out, definitely don't look at the academies. Because they'll just randomly run through our halls at 4:30 in the morning saying, get up and come outside, we're going for a run. No explanations, no prior engagements, they just say, let's go. There's nights where we've been up till 2:30 in the morning finishing essays for them then to tell us we have quizzes the next day. They'll plan quizzes on days before tests. They really do not care. They expect you to handle your stuff when they give it to you. But overall, it's fun. It's definitely one of those things, if you've been part of a group where from the outside it looks awful, from the inside, it's not as bad. Like from the outside, you see the military, you think they're very strict, they adhere to standards. From the inside, I'll tell you now, we flooded multiple conference rooms with Orbeez. We bought Nerf guns and we've had entire Nerf gun fights. They'll take time out of our day. We'll go in the yard and we'll have giant snowball fights. So it's not as bad. They give you things in between it. On the weekends, you're allowed to go up into the city. They'll let you roam there. There's a lot of restaurants to go to.
Where are you? Where are you?
I just left from Newport, Rhode Island. And so it was fun up there. You're right next to the coast for most of their stuff, so they have a lot of things. They have scuba diving, snowboarding, all of these different classes. The academies are very inclusive. And the best part about it is you're there by yourself. So yes, it's a close island, but you don't really have to worry about the public as much. The academies are very good at keeping their business concealed to them. I would say to get into the academy, there's no requirements. I could tell you what their ideal student is, but they don't really have one. I've seen people with 4.6 GPAs get turned down. I've seen people with 2.8 GPAs get accepted. I've seen D1 athletes get turned down, and I've seen people that can barely do 5 pull-ups get accepted. The best thing you can do is be consistent across the board. Every little thing you do, it counts. That one class you think they don't pay attention to, they look at it because they're going to wonder, why did you do good everywhere else but not here? That tells them, oh, he thinks he's going to do what he wants to do, not what he has to do. We don't want that kind of person here. That one workout you miss, that one sports team you decide it's not worth going for, let's drop it. They're going to wonder, why don't you do any sports? Oh, he must only think that we care about academics. Every little thing matters. Honor, integrity, the core values of CAP, they pay close attention to that. I've seen people get kicked out over lying over something as simple as one quiz. They are very strict when it comes to honor and integrity and the basic standards. If you can't even follow the basic abilities, they'll let you go. And even stuff as simple as when you guys do the general knowledge. If you don't know your general knowledge, I've seen them, you don't want to not know your general knowledge.
Yeah, don't let us know the insides.
It's different. You definitely have to have a drive from inside. You can't want to go because your best friend went there. That's not going to make you through it. I've seen people drop from day one. I've seen people get all the way up to the last month and decide to drop. I've seen a lot of curveballs thrown. The military is not concrete. It is they move a lot. I've seen them 2 hours before we're supposed to have a brief, suddenly push it back and change the entire schedule. And you have to be flexible because they don't care about your academic requirements. If the military tells you, we need you here at this time, and the academics tell you, you need to be here, they're gonna expect you to be there. They don't care about that test you have the next day. They don't care about the quiz you have the next day. This is your obligation. It's gonna force you to manage your time. You're gonna wake up some mornings and you're like, I don't wanna be here. I just spent the past year waking up at 5 o'clock every morning and going to sleep at 1:30 every night. You're not gonna wanna deal with that. Every day you have a 2-hour workout. You wake up to stand in formations. You have to march to go eat. You have to sit at attention when you eat. You have to march to come back over. You go to classes and you sit there for an hour and a half listening to a teacher talk. You're gonna have to wanna be there. You can't go because somebody else wants you to be there. And that's definitely one of the biggest things that they'll tell you when you get there. It's hard to explain unless you're there in the moment, but it's definitely, if you like CAP, you'll love an academy. They're like CAP on steroids. Every time when you guys stand at general knowledge, imagine doing that for 4 hours a day on a wall. I leave in 2 weeks to go to plebe summer again. We stand there for 4 hours a day on a wall, elbows at 45 degrees, reading nothing but knowledge. No talking, no looking around, no scratching, no moving, no sitting, just standing there. And when they get tired of looking at you stand there, they tell you, run to your room, flip everything on your mattress, and put all your sheets in a pillowcase, and get back on the wall in a minute. Every second you're over a minute, that's another minute you hold a plank. And then after you finish that, they tell you stand back up. You got 5 minutes to go make up every room perfectly. If you don't finish in 5 minutes, you get to come back, you get to do push-ups for every 10 seconds over. You have to want to be there. You have to do your part. Your roommate's gonna do his part. Find out each other's weaknesses. That's the only way you'll survive. Accept this is your weakness, strive to make it better, but realize if the person next to you can make a mattress better than you, don't sit there and hold everybody up trying to make that mattress. Ask for help. It's not considered being weak. It's not considered being dependent. It's better to have a flaw and accept that you have it so that they can fix it versus to try to keep covering it up. Because just like a flat tire, if you don't fix the flat tire, eventually the car is going to stop running. And that's one of the biggest lessons we had to learn at the academy. You think, hey, I don't know these people. There's no way I'm going to befriend them. And you're at the point now, I don't even really talk to friends from high school because like their lives are so different from what you're used to. You are going to meet your best friends at these academies. There's people I talk to still every day, all the way across the coast. I have friends that's in Puerto Rico asking me to come visit. I have friends in Hawaii that I can go visit, friends in New York. You make these connections all over. One of my friends, her parents is a #1 orthopedic surgeon. I know people I know the son of the CEO of Pepsi. You make these connections, and these are connections that you can't find everywhere else. And so the academies, it's definitely fun. You'll have fun. They pay for you to go to school. They pay you to go to school. They give you everything you could possibly need. They map out your schedule. It's structured, but at the same time, you have that independence to move around. The academy's like any college. I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, and then I have Tuesday and Thursday classes on off days. You have to go to class, of course. If you don't go to class, you're considered AWOL. Those are military movements. Mm-hmm. But in class, it's also a lot more flexible. You have labs, you have group projects that you have to work on. It's like a normal college, but add on the stress of a military to a degree. Does anybody have any questions about any of the academies, getting involved into them, where they're at, etc.?
Please, anybody who are my academy, people who aspire to go to the academies, raise your hand. Y'all should have questions. Because it depends on, because all of y'all are not gonna get a chance to be able to talk with somebody. It's one thing to be able to talk to somebody who's, been through an academy years ago, but he's giving you the low down and dirty. And for somebody who was accepted to both academies and could have been accepted to West Point if you wanted to go, and I agree with you on West Point, negative. But that would have been 3 academies that he was accepted to. Trust me, this is a well-rounded young man. And he was that way in the squadron, was going to pilot school, all the stuff that he did, sports, all that. He was just that guy.
What made you want to join the Navy?
So from a young age, I figured out I wanted to be an engineer. And then I got in 9th grade and I went for a test flight with Delta, and I realized I don't want to be an engineer, I want to be a pilot. And so from that moment, I was looking at Naval Academy and Air Force Academy. And what finally tipped me over to Navy is naval pilots have a little tick over once you make it to carrier landings, because it's harder to become a carrier landing. So Navy holds their pilots up to a slightly higher standard. And their training is a slightly bit more intense, but it's also a level of preparedness that I wanted to be at. Yes.
So about preparation, are there any sports that they would recognize as if it's a certain league? Because I don't really play many competitive leagues because it's very costly.
That is a good question. The academies do not care what sport you play. I think the highlights that they like is swimming, of course, because swimming gets you in good shape, and boxing. Those are the 2 greatest sports that they like. But I've seen people come that play lacrosse. I've seen esports players come through. I've seen people that play water polo, volleyball. The academies really don't care. They just want to see that you're making a commitment. You're not just sitting at home doing nothing. The physical requirements are also going to require you to be on the sports level, because I think for the males, your cutoff time is a 10:30 mile and a half, which is a 7-minute mile pace. Anything over is a fail. You have a 2-minute plank you have to do, and then you have 35 push-ups on cadence. And so anything that's not at a sports athlete level for the most part won't make it through their cutoffs. Yes.
What's the swimming requirement?
The swimming requirements, you only have to be able to do 1 lap. They don't really care if you're too proficient, they just need to make sure if you fall in the water, you're not gonna drown. I think it's 25 meters in the pool. You have to jump off of a 5-meter diving board, I think it is. 10 feet, 5 meters, I don't know. And then you just have to be able to stay afloat in water for 5 minutes. As long as you do that, then they'll let you pass on through. If you don't, they have swim classes. They will put you in swim classes. If you don't meet their PT standards, they have PT classes. You don't want to go in their PT classes, it's awful. I'll tell you now, I was there and they make you run like 2 miles every day. And on your off days, they tell you go run for an hour nonstop. You don't want to be in their videos. It takes a large chunk out of your time. You don't get to choose. Let's say you want to do weights, you don't get the choice. Let's say you want to do legs, you have no control over when you work out. They tell you to be here at this time and you have to be there. If you don't, you're considered AWOL and they report it to your chain of command. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. What about boxing?
The academies love boxing. My brother actually just got recruited onto West Point's boxing team.
Your brother around here, kind of like a Mike Tyson, Star Peters kind of. I like that. That's a hand-to-hand combat, though.
That is.
That's what it is. Who in here likes to fight?
I will tell you, boxing is an amazing sport. I did it. It's fun. It's very training intense, and you don't realize how tired you get until you throw 3 punches, and then you're just sitting there, you're like, I'm done. You want nothing more but to walk out of that ring. Because I used to get there, and your coach is sitting on the sideline screaming, keep going, he's on the defense, keep driving, get him in the corner, stay on your toes, and it gets annoying. Really fast, you get tired of standing on your toes, arms up, blocking. Full respect for anybody that does boxing. Full respect for anybody that does swimming too competitively. It's not for me. I did it before, I'm not gonna do it again. Yes.
Do they like martial arts also?
Everybody who goes to the academy has to take, they call it PE class, but in the PE class, they teach you hand-to-hand combat skills. West Point's, I think, is a little bit more intensive. They have an entire obstacle course that everybody has to do. It includes obstacle jumping, you have to climb up a rope, run a certain amount around the track. It's,
IOCP, if I'm not mistaken, is what it's called.
yeah, I'm trying to think of, ever seen Extreme Tag?
Yes.
That's essentially what it is, Extreme Tag meeting parkour. And that's West Point's version of the obstacle course. everybody that goes through their PE has to pass that obstacle course within a certain time. The Naval Academy has it too. They have a different version, I think. But theirs is more so, they'll teach you some boxing stances. Our main job, instead of learning how to fight for aggression, we learn how to disable. So if somebody's to charge at me, I'm not supposed to use excessive force to knock them out, but I do want to get you down to the ground and incapacitate. So that's the biggest difference between the two. West Point, since they're more so hand-to-hand combat, face-to-face infantry, theirs is to actually fight to take people down permanently. So they have to learn how to jump over stuff with heavy weights on. They have to learn the fastest ways to take people down. Since the Navy's further back, they more so want to know, in case you do, but most times you'll only be against other military members. And the Navy really doesn't deal with infantry as much, so there's not that major push for you to learn hand-to-hand combat skills. But you can still learn it. They have a strong Marine presence. They will train you every weekend on hand-to-hand combat skills. They will teach you how to disable a person with a belt, anything you can grab. Yes.
Since, if I'm not mistaken, the Marines are technically a department of the Navy, do you also have Marines guys in there?
That's a great question. There are Marines there. I'm gonna tell you guys now, they don't like when I say it. The Marines are actually crazy. Like, the posters don't give them service, they're actually crazy. They're smart too, but they are crazy. I've seen a lot of people get in trouble messing around with Marines. They,
Yeah.
that's a different branch. Like,
They got a certain look that just.
you can tell
Yeah,
a
you
Marine.
can tell a Marine.
And they're very proud to be Marines.
Oh my
Like,
God.
you'll know that they're a Marine, because every 5 seconds they're gonna say, I'm a Marine, or when I was in the Marine
Simple
Corps,
fire.
once a Marine, always a Marine. You're gonna know a Marine when you see a Marine.
One,
Yes.
one of my neighbors was Marine, but she was like a small young lady, so like she looked like a Marine at all, and so I was like very confused when I saw her Marine thing.
Don't get
Yeah.
confused with the young ladies, especially the drill sergeants or drill instructors. Those are the ones that will. But anyway.
They will. There's a drill instructor that was on campus. If she's on the other side of the football field, if you're in the building, you'll still hear her when she yells.
Cool. That was the worst reaming I got in basic training, was from a short, about like Lieutenant Powers, just going, looking up at me, hat just ding 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 ding, just.
They make their presence. I remember there was times I'm not even near them, and I heard a Marine say stop, and everybody within me just stopped. Everybody stops and they just look, because you never know if you're the one they're talking to, and you never want to be the one that they're talking to. So I will say the Marines make their presence known on campus. It's a very small amount. Like, I think we just had 34 Marines there. It's a very small amount, but you can join. They have Marine people in the staff.
Ooh, I'm not gonna be a Marine. That's not for me.
Come on, Lieutenant Jacobson, I want to see that.
You know who's the perfect Marine guy in here? Katsudas. He is the perfect guy. You hear him yelling.
Chief Motes is a Marine.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, that kind of fits him.
It does. Believe it or not, that quiet.
Yeah.
See that look in the eye? That's that look.
That is.
That's the look right there. Seriously, that's the look. Every time I look, like, yeah, that's the look.
I promise you, you
Yeah.
guys think I'm joking. There was a Marine who was in my squad. He runs a mile in 4.5 minutes. He finishes his mile and a half in under 7 minutes. Before anybody's even done with a mile, he's done, and he's walking off. Doesn't be sweating, that's just who he is. He's a small kid, he's no bigger than me. He'll go out, he'll bench press 250, he'll squat 350. Small guy, he'll go running for 20 miles and still come back with a ruck on. Absolute beast. I don't know what the Marines give their people, but Marines, they're just born differently.
That's why they said a few proud.
They are. They're very proud and never challenge a Marine athletically. Academically, you may be able to get away with it. Athletically, let them have it. There's no winning. The Naval Academy, even more so, like this summer, they have a summer training that's 6 to 7 weeks long. They haven't decided yet. The entire staff is all Marines.
Good luck.
There's been word they're gonna have us carrying around rifles. There's been words of 2-hour PT sessions every morning now. The entire thing is run by Marines, and Marines love to work out. There is no end. So that's what you get to look forward to. It's fun. I was
After all
there.
that?
No,
Yeah.
but I agree with what he's saying,
It's
that
a great type
when
of
you're
fun.
outside looking in, it looks like, oh my God, but when you're inside, you're family. You're family. I mean, like you said, he's already made out. Like I said, I cried when I left basic training. There only been a couple times in my life that I cried. I didn't even cry at my grandmother's funeral, which she was raised me for a while. But I cried left base training because you're there with people that you really care about. You scared together, you came up together. So I totally agree with what he's talking about.
It's hard to explain the camaraderie that you get, but it's definitely there. And it sounds awful, but there's also nights where they'll call taps, and our company officer will be standing in her doorway, scrolling down TikTok, and she'll be like, hey, do this TikTok dance. And she'll sit there and she'll do a TikTok dance with you. There's been times where the gunner sergeant, he'll just randomly walk in the room, we're playing Just Dance, and he just sat there. He's like, I wanna play. And so then we had a gunner sergeant sitting there playing. Or like there was a chief that walked by and we were playing, and he just started screaming, keep dancing! In the middle of the hallway, just screaming at you to keep dancing. And so it's not all bad. They have their moments, but there's also a lot of fun that's behind the scenes. As long as you do what you have to do, they'll let it go. Me personally, they have room inspections every Monday. I think I got my room inspected 3 times out of the year. They were supposed to do them, but they just said, you guys are adults. As long as it doesn't get awful, we're assuming you're gonna do what you have to do. Once it gets awful, then they'll step in and interfere. But for the most part, they leave you to function as you are. It's entirely student-led. You have your military staff in case you need them, but they try to tell you all the time, handle it on the lowest level possible. Let them know, but don't involve them. They'll look out for you, but honestly, it's entirely student-led. I wake up, there's a student telling me to form up. When we go to formations, there's a student leading it, there's students marching you, there's students that report. The military staff is there, but they're not there.
That's like Cap, isn't it?
Yeah, they really do sit back, like, they won't speak to you. They'll speak to you if, like, you have a conversation. I remember the CEO walked up to me once and he just had a nice conversation, like, did you watch the football game last night? And you just sit there for a moment because you're like, how do I talk to a 06 in the Navy? Because you still have that moment where, A, you just finished being a child, so this is an adult talking to you, and they're talking to you as if you're like a friendly level and you've never seen this man again. And B, you still have that military discipline where it's like, I'm not supposed to talk to somebody at this rank. I'm supposed to stick to the lowest level. And so that's one of the privileges of an academy. They force you to have these interactions with high ranks. That way when you get to the fleet, you're not completely stumped on it. You know how to talk to an 05. You're not overwhelmed by the rank of, this is the 05 talking to me. What do I do? What do I say? Does my uniform look okay? Am I good? The academies give you that confidence to know, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to say. This is how to carry yourself. There probably used to be a point in time, you can ask them, when I was in CAP, I wouldn't stand up in front of a room and talk.
That's
I could, but I just wouldn't.
He was the quietest person
He was.
in this. We had to pull it out of Terry, but
The academies will force you to interact with people. They'll force you to take lead. They'll force you to teach. And most importantly, the professors are really chill. You can have really nice professors. And cursing is just a part of the military. I will say that. So if you don't like that, don't go to an academy. I asked a math teacher a question once and it doesn't go well. Make sure you pay attention in class. Don't be like me. I went to sleep a lot. They don't like that either. They hate when you go to sleep.
Any other questions?
They feeding you enough?
They do feed you a lot. They have desserts at every meal, salads at every meal. You can get delivery food. You have access to the store to buy food. We have refrigerators. They allowed us to have appliances if we chose to cook. Each floor has, I think, like 8 microwaves that you have. They give you a lot of
A
food.
lot of carbs.
We took him on an FTX, we stopped him after he finished the barbecue platter, he went back up, came back with a quarter of a strawberry cake. And he just, I said, you know we got a night march tonight, and he goes, yeah, I'm fine, he says, I eat like this, and then I go and run my, run track. So, we were all shaking our heads, man, huge hunk of cake.
That is that is the silent killer of any academy. Any college, the food is definitely gonna hit you, but because of the academies, like I said, since it's so athletically challenging, you have to demand what you eat. Like I just got there, they had a line where you go through and grab your food. They have red items, green items, and yellow items. Whatever you ask for, they'll give it to you, but it's your choice to choose. Do I need a low sodium food? What should I eat today? Do I want to eat carbs? Do I want to eat protein? They won't tell you. You can grab everything through that line, the soup, you can grab salad, you can grab 3 cakes. They don't care. They won't stop you. But when you take that PT test, they will expect for you to pass. And just an example of it, I think we ate lunch at around 11 o'clock there. They gave our PT test at 12 o'clock. They give you about 30 minutes from when you eat to run. That's really it.
Was that a bit messy?
It was messy. I saw one body hit the ground. I was just standing there because I finished, and I was helping the coach administer the rest of them, watching my squad, and they came around, I was like, I only see 4 people. And so then we look over and we see the 5th person on the side throwing up. And so then we walked over and got him after everybody was finished. They care for you, but they're gonna tell you that was stupid also. Like they got him, and the whole while they was taking him in, they're like, that's stupid. No one told you to take pre-workout. It's dumb. It's gonna kill you. So don't take pre-workout. The academies hate it. I think a couple of years ago, they actually had somebody die from a heart attack after taking pre-workout and they're running. They hate it. They do not want you to die. They will not call 911 unless you are gonna die, but don't get to that point. I've seen people pass out. They will do everything they can to keep you from getting hurt, and they have actual medical staff that's trained to handle it, so they won't call 911 unless it's something major. But the academies truly do not care for the most part. That's just the military in general. When we had our COVID shots, they gave us the shots at 9 in the morning, and at 9:15 told us to go to class. The rest of the day, they told you to work out. You had people saying their arm hurts. They're like, well, you can be SIQ on the weekend, but they're gonna finish out this week. They will give you Tylenol and ice pack and tell you, good job, go sit in your room and good night. The academies are they're not very baby. They're gonna expect you to handle it yourself.
That's why we do what we do here. Just real quick, one last question, that's kind of a funny question. At the position of attention, or when y'all stand at the position of attention, especially outside, have you seen anybody lock their knees and fall?
I've seen 5 people fall, and I can assure you,
It's
we
not.
caught none of them. Like, we saw one of them fall, and we heard it. You don't get to move at attention. Like, they'll see you, and they'll go get them. If you move at attention, they're gonna yell at you while they're going to get that person. And then I had another person fall on the other side. They will catch them, quote unquote, like right before you hit the ground, after you hit the ground and bounce back up. And they'll trot them off, but if you fall, then you just fall.
I said that as a joke to say, when I tell you not to lock your knees, and I say I've seen that, well, the biggest thing, you can't do anything about it. So you sitting there watching somebody, blap, and you see it, but you don't see it. You still like this, because the minute you're like, Powers, what are you doing? What are you doing, Robinson? What do you think you're doing? What are you looking at? What are you looking at me? What are you just like, I was trying to make sure he was okay. That ain't your job. Are you an EMT? And just going off. Like, you'll never do it again. Shevsky, talk to me.
What happens if they fall into you though? That's I'm wondering what
Step to
that
side. He stepped aside.
Gotta step out the way if you can, but for the most part, you just
Just kind of like, but they're gonna roll off. Don't worry about it. They're gonna roll off you.
Here we expect you to catch each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. In CAP we do.
Neighbor Day?
No.
Very good neighbor day. We were watching the performance, and he said one day, he says, "You can see me up there."
I'm gonna be up there one day.
He
I'm gonna be a Blue
told me,
Angel.
he said one day.
I don't know what I'm gonna do after I become a Blue Angel, because, you know, once you climb the top of Mount Everest, it's kind of like, what else is there to do? But
And you will be a Blue Angel.
I'll cross that bridge when I
When
get
you
to
come
that bridge.
back. And
We want your autograph.
When you become a Blue Angel, I'm going to your show. I don't care where it's at. Just
I
let
expect
keep
to
it
see
in
you
the
there.
loop. Tell moms.
Just hit us up on Instagram.
But I just wanted to just,
You better
and
give me an
I know
autograph.
he came in, but see, you're not gonna, again, I so appreciate Midshipman Terry coming and talking with you guys, just to so you can see what's going on and ask some questions. And, we look forward to him coming back. Appreciate you.
Always so Navy.
Gotta go.
I probably stick around.
All right, okay.